You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? That song has very little to do with today's topic, except that it has a word that starts with V. And today I'm talking about the 3 V's of good writing that will make your prose sing. And those 3 V's are voice, verbs, and variety. Let's start with voice. I'm sure you've heard of active and passive voice before. Let me make it clear in case it's not for you. In active voice, you have a subject that is the agent of the action in the sentence. For example, Jane kicked the ball. But when you have a passive voice construction, the subject is being acted upon, such as the ball was kicked by Jane. And in those kinds of constructions, not only do you not have a subject that is acting, but you also have to add in this extra prepositional phrase in the end, such as by Jane. So they're wordier and they're not active. You want active voice to make your prose vibrant. Now, sometimes you might want to use passive voice constructions to emphasize a subject's helplessness or victimization. For example, instead of saying, the robber shot Jane, you might say, Jane was shot by the robber. Otherwise, though, revise for active voice. Now let's move on to verbs. Action verbs. We need them if we're going to use active voice. And so you want to make sure that you go back and you try to cut out all of those linking verbs, also known as to be verbs, such as am, is, are, was, were, seems, looks, feels, remains. The thing about linking verbs is they simply link a subject with either an adjective, such as Jane is smart, or a subject with a noun, such as Jane is president. Nothing happens. It's all just description, and your prose can fall a little flat. It's easy to combine sentences and inject those action verbs in there and make your prose sing. For example, you could say, Jane, our smart president, led us to victory. Or you might say, Jane, the crafty stalker, committed a crime. Inject those action verbs and replace those linking verbs as often as possible so that your prose will be more vibrant. But another thing about verbs, you should also strive to make them as precise as possible so you can avoid using a bunch of adverbs to build them up. For example, instead of saying Jack walked slowly across the room, walk being kind of a weak verb that needs the adverb slowly to help it out, why don't you be more precise by saying something like Jack waddled across the room, or Jack strolled across the room, or maybe Jack crept across the room. By using more precise verbs, stronger verbs, you won't need to use adverbs and your prose won't be as wordy and it'll be more vibrant. Now let's move on to variety. There are 2 components to variety. We want to make sure we vary our words and also that we vary our sentence patterns. If you find during the revision process that you are repeating the same word, then you want to try to find synonyms. You can go to the thesaurus for this, but a word of caution. The thesaurus is not a place to find a word that you don't know. No, because the thing is, all words have connotations, which are meanings, implied meanings that are picked up through usage over time. And if you're unfamiliar with a word and you just pluck it out of a thesaurus, there might be some unintended meanings in there, and you may be saying things you don't mean to say. So the thesaurus is for when you can't think of another word. You've been using the same word over and over, and you need another one. You go to the thesaurus to help you find a word you already know, but you just can't think of it. So vary words so that they're not repetitive. Not that there aren't times when you want to repeat words for emphasis, for transition, for clarity, but make sure that your repetition of words is purposeful and not just because you are being lazy. So then the other component of variety, sentence structure. You want to make sure that your sentences aren't all structured in the same way, because then your prose will sound monotonous. Go through and change your sentence openings. Change the length of your sentences. Make some simple, some complex. Maybe change the structure altogether. I have two favorite kinds of sentence structures that I'd like to describe to you today, and one is the periodic structure. This is where you build up toward the main clause. So you might have something like drenched, cold, and trembling, and unaware that he was following her, Jane made her way through the dark room. That was periodic. The other is cumulative, which is kind of the opposite. And then you start with the main clause, but then you build up on it. So you might say something like, she spotted him, tall, dark, handsome, long hair pulled back, 5 o'clock shadow, and jeans that were so tight that they left nothing for the imagination. Those are a couple of sentences of different sentence structures that you can play around with so that your prose isn't monotonous, so that it sings. So those are the 3 V's of good writing, brought to you by yours truly, Eva Pohler, here on Book Teta Tea. Ooh, I forgot to drink my tea. Next time I will be bringing you a sneak peek from one of your favorite authors. I wonder who it could be. Not me, someone else. I can't wait to share this exclusive sneak peek with you. I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you'll give it a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you already haven't, and you can learn more on my blog at evapohler.com. Thanks so much for spending these few minutes with me. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.